I should be surprised though, because they're actually getting coached by Pink, all right? And Pink's already qualified. We know Pink's one of the better IGLs in EU. So I think the fact that they were so composed, they had a game plan to deal with this zone so well, I think that just goes to show, you know, the extra effort they've had and the extra help they've had coming into this game.
Yeah, I mean, coaching, big part of FortNite, especially recently, a lot of coaches putting in the work. But what I love so much about FortNite and moneymaker here is you could see with that difficult environment, they were making the adaptations needed to continue successfully as the game goes on. For example, they were connecting to the natural environment, to the mountains all around instead of previous structures that were built like you would in a traditional end game, but really played it by the book in that sense, took it from the height, and honestly, those like last moments, they didn't even have to really get an elim. They were just waiting in zone, out healing, and it led to the VR.
All right, look, we're at a crucial point now when it comes to standings. Let's take a look at the leaderboard. And a reminder, the top 9 teams here get spots in GC, so it's vital that you get a good position, especially at this stage. And look, let's start with Vidil and Mr. Savage here, 11, dropping a couple of places.
I'll be real, I'm not too worried, just because, you know, of course it wasn't as good as the game prior, but they're still here, they're still about. I think Vidil and Mr. Savage, everyone's going to have their fingers crossed. I think the lower and lower they drop, right, you know, I'll start this part, if these guys can continue to play how they played in the past couple games, they should be well on their way to qualify.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you here, 11, because we don't have that kind of factor as we did in previous tournaments for Savage and Vidil, where they might have a very rough early game, and we don't know if they're going to make it to the late game. But even though they dropped a few points, they still made it pretty close to that late game, and they were in the moving that far.
Yeah.
They're able to consistently do that for the rest of the matches. I'm pretty positive they'll keep their spot in the top 9.
Yeah, I mean, Levin, you're going to be thrilled if you're in this top 9 situation, if you're within the environment now at the half-time point. It's not about maintenance at the end of the day, because ultimately people can leapfrog you, teams can leapfrog you at any given moment, so you can't get too comfortable if you're in the top 9 right now.
You definitely cannot get too comfortable, right? Because people will come for you, right? There's still a lot of games left to really sort of move up and down in the standings. I think the teams who we've seen be so effective, right? I'm looking at them and I'm going, hold on a minute. Clearly,
hold on a minute.
Starting to get into a better rhythm, right? I talked about them at the start of the show where I said, you know, there are some veterans in these lobbies. They are a bit more experienced. Obviously, one problem they've had is that when they get to the deep end games, low on materials compared to where you want them to be at, but still making plays happen, and I think that is a positive.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to what we're seeing from Mr. Savage and Vidil. It might be due to that chain reaction of being on the congested side of the zone from rotates, but to be fair, this was a very north map, so it was difficult for a lot of the duos that were rotating from the more southern side, so that rotation is expected, and as the games go on and hopefully the maps and zones keep going around, we should see more success from these duos.
Absolutely, and we're going to see some fresh faces start to pop off in the latter stage of the tournament. And speaking of fresh faces, let's introduce one onto the broadcast right now. It is content creator, FortNite player, all-round legend, Reddish. Reddish, welcome to the FNCS Last Chance Major. It's good to see you again. How are you doing?
You're always so nice to me. What an honor to be here. Hi, guys.
Yeah, it's good to have you on. Reach that halfway point now, Reddish. What have you made of what you've seen so far?
I'm proud of moneymaker. I have to say, I just saw the last game. And I'm super excited. I have a few teams I'm rooting for. I'm honestly rooting for events this year, like Savage, Vidil, Rev Sentry, Nibs, Hellfire, Kaizen. It's so nice because I got to meet them and now I'm rooting for them from home. And we also have a Romanian team today, so I'm keeping my eyes on that too.
Look, Reddish, it's good to see you as always. A lot of people watching will be very familiar with how good you are in game. A lot of them might not be familiar with how good you are at table tennis, though. You mentioned you've been at some of these lands throughout the year. Tell me, who are the pro players you've been dominating in table tennis?
I was the pro player. I mean, thinking about it, I know Queasy was like one of the best and he beat everyone, and then Revscar beat Queasy, and then I beat Revscar. So I think that puts me like, like we can just say we beat everyone there. Yeah,
You beat me as well.
And I beat,
Can I get a rematch?
I would love to. I think I'll be in Copenhagen for FNCS, so maybe there, maybe.
Oh,
I'd be down for a
maybe.
rematch.
You know, we might be able to continue that ping pong tournament journey battle. But look, Reddish, I'll bring you back to another FortNite question. I know you did compete in the most recent Nikkei 30 Creative Twitch Rivals tournament, and you actually got second place. How was that experience?
Oh, I almost won it. So Nick's tourney was awesome because it was 7 different maps, and I feel like me and Bonsai Bros, we were the only ones who really prepared for it. And Bonsai Bros beat me in 2 of the maps by 1 second, literally 1 second. So that was so winnable, but I'll take second place out of 32 streamers. It was just an honor. It was an honor to compete in that and to be there with all of those amazing streamers. So yeah.
Yeah, and second place is 6. So Reddish, just before I let you go, everybody already follows you already, but if they don't, where can we find you?
Reddish on Twitch, and they'll find me on Twitter too if they want.
All right, good stuff. Reddish, enjoy the rest of the Last Chance Major, and we'll see you soon, all right?
See you. Thank you guys, have fun.
Thank you. Oh, we love Reddish. And for the record, Levin, I'm a table tennis OG. You don't want this, all right?
Oh, I mean, I saw you playing in Copenhagen, Ian.
Yeah. Listen, we got to get into the game. Sorry to interrupt. Let's get right back into it with our casters.
Much, Ian. Always love hearing from Reddish as well. I mean, absolutely great FortNite player, but feels like she's an amazing personality as well. So definitely make sure you guys check her out on Twitch.
Absolutely got the vibes all the way high, especially for Game 4 and how this tournament is going overall. Today, it's close between all these teams. No one's really running away with it, and the zones are some of the hardest we've seen so far in Europe this year.
Yeah, I mean, that last zone in particular, I don't think it's going to be much more devastating than that. If it is, I mean, players, I am so sorry for what you guys might be having to deal with, but game number 4, it's here and it's ready to go.
Let's jump right in. All right.
I mean,
We'll see.
still trying to recover, honestly, after what we just witnessed.
Yeah, I mean, it was just such a surprise in terms of, you know, the zone could only get worse for everyone rocking through. Now we're focused on those off-spawn fights because, again, every team is battling it out. No one wants to give it up.
No, especially not after we have passed our halfway point. I mean, game 4 can really be a massive momentum shift for a lot of these teams. Some teams looking to extend their lead, some teams looking to close the gap on it. And we saw just how tight the leaderboard was as well for at least places 5 through 15. So no one really feeling all that comfortable, but Giannis and Reason definitely feeling pretty good here. They took a little bit more initiative here, got extremely proactive, as you can see in that Elam feed, because Reason, Giannis, they went for the immediate 50-50. Reason just instantly dropping in, taking full advantage of that drum shotgun as well. Just a quick and easy pick 'em upper. And that's also big for Reason and Giannis, because we've seen them kind of shying away from that initial engagement, Jayo, and this time they're not messing around.
Not at all. These guys literally just say, yeah, you know, we tried all this complicated stuff. Let's just go back to what works, which is, you know, push you right off spawn. Go for the 50-50 on the chest. Meanwhile, Pixel, snooze losers. Gonna be looking for some long-range engagements. There's many other fights happening across the map as well. These guys go for long-range taps. None at Savage and Vidil's POI. They're looking fine once again, and that's huge because these guys are holding on to that top 5.
And I can't say it's really all that surprising either to see Savage and Vidil just continuing to do well, because again, it was never really this duo's skill that was questioned. It was more so just the fact that their drop spot, initially having been at Naughty Nets, it's a very difficult one to work with, especially when uncontested, but now it seems as though they're doing what they need to. And the same could be said as well here for Marius and Della, looking to capitalize. But it's going to be Della already with 2 elims. Certainly having to feel good about that. Has to be careful, though, for that player up on the hill.
Yeah, if you're up top, you got to be careful. We saw the third parties in that last game come through. If you are just even a bit unsuspecting. All good, though. Australian Tribune will be inside and just being able to get all the loot that they can, and then moving out after the fact. having a good day overall in terms of being closer to that top 9, but I think the issue with LastChance and Trippin is just falling to these fights right before they need to set up their whole game towards the later zones. So have to prioritize that position and go for surge tags maybe just a bit earlier. Way easier said than done though. They know what they got to work on. Walks, Uguay had chances a lot of the times to just be overall lobby leaders, but the issue today has just been people stealing away their crown, people taking away a little bit of their momentum, and the zones being so hard to navigate for the style that they play.
But if there's one thing that Walks and Uguay have certainly been seeming to do quite a lot of, leading from opens to now, it's fighting. A lot of elims having been cooked up between this team, leading through everything else, and Walks, as you can see, trying to leverage a little bit of height, trying to break away into these builds now for Tenzi, and it's not going to be easy by any means, but that flapjack rifle, it is putting in work right now. Just playing so much destruction, both on the front side and the back side. These boxes just non-stop being aggressed into by Walks and Uguay. Huge shot as well from Walks, and finally he's going to get the knock onto Hizix. And at the same time, we're going to see Eltenzi go down to Uguay as well. So a good finish as far as how quickly they were able to collect those 2 elims, but you saw the third party already starting to trickle in. So the fighting definitely bound to happen even more so for Walks and Uguay.
Yeah, I want to just bounce back whenever they can. Been really good watching Prophecy and Yankee today. Been in really good positions overall, but I just haven't translated that to like really big end zone points. Respectfully so too, but these fights have been just really good at sticking together, having long range splits. Fireball, as you mentioned, having a really good day overall, but yeah, these mid-game fights just being a little bit tricky when they bite off a bit more than they can chew. Just go for a little bit of damage and then run, but past these hills will always be really difficult.
We've seen this exact same engagement though so many times already from Curb and Firebro. Last game got the better of them for sure, put Curb in a tough spot where he had to actually look for a reboot. And still ample pressure. This positioning here for Curb. Firebro gonna choose to expend the slap splash. A little bit of a drop here now for Curb, and it seems as though Curb and Firebro, they want to be the first ones out yet again. A nice turnaround with a fadeaway on that Mammoth pistol, though. That's quite the souvenir to leave someone with.
Yeah, big damage, and then they can move. Big looks on a Howley and the Freezy right now, as well as they just seem to be doing really, really good at the most unsuspected circumstances and just things thrown their way this entire day so far. We saw Howley with a big clutch, and after that, they just used that momentum, just keep doing really well game after game. Now, when things end up a little bit more orthodox and they have more teams in their way rather than just situations or difficult maps to overcome, I wonder what happens then. But their checklist is looking really good. Meanwhile, Clement and Kaizen, I think the most resilient on the day, been tossed every single horrible spot overall in the last 2 games at least, and they've turned it into just the most beautiful things. Literally the definition of pressure in Carbon becoming diamonds, and it's really fun for that, for just to watch for this team.
Certainly a team that is making the most of every situation that they're handed, like you said, because they've definitely been put into a lot of tough predicaments in comparison maybe to some of these other duos in the lobby. But I like the way that they've essentially had a lot of player discipline to put themselves into the right opportunities when they are faced with those obstacles. Because it can be really easy to just want to all-in challenge or just disengage even, but it really does seem as though that team has a really firm grip on what it is exactly that they want to commit to in the heat of the moment. 10 looks like he wants to take a little bit of a fight here. Gonna get a couple of tags from some teams, maybe a little bit further less than he was anticipating. And again, that's kind of the thing about Mega City. You got a couple of duos might be kind of scoping the perimeters to see if there are teams like Hen and Vasca they could